Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Name Fit Game. I'm Andrew Imber, and alongside me, as always, my co-host, Elliot Brownstein. What's going on, man?
How you doing, brother?
Can't complain. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, except all this rain that's coming in. I'm not digging that.
Terrible weather, man. They talk about Sunday afternoons. I think the weather's living up to it, right?
Yeah, I'm just blasted in Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
All right.
That's all you can do.
I mean, weather is very apropos for that. We're joined by a guest host this week. It's going to be Ronald Washington, Public Information Officer for Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. I wanted to make sure that I wrote that out so I said it right. Ronald, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm glad to be here.
He is an American Ninja Warrior contestant. We've had a couple. We've had Kai, who has been on the show, and we've had Ben, who hasn't been on the show but also coaches the sport. So we're sticking with the ninja theme, but as we're going to get to in a little bit, Ronald's had a little bit more success on the show than some of these other guys, and he's putting up a pretty impressive season. So I'm excited to talk about all the good things you're doing this year. So we always start off the show. I know this is going to be like beating a dead horse, but extremely relatable topic to fitness, diet, health, exercise, sleep. Very much in the realm of what we talk about here. Very on topic. We're going to start with dentistry this week, all right? Because this thing that just caught my eye, I've never seen. I don't know if you've heard this, but it's going around, so you might have. A 7-year-old boy in India had 526 teeth removed. 526 teeth from his own mouth removed.
Was he a shark?
You would think that, but no, he's a 7-year-old boy. Human boy.
That's crazy. I'm glad you clarified human boy.
Yes.
I didn't know what else he would have been.
He had a mass in his jaw.
Really?
So they were concerned what was going on here. So dentists went to work, and they removed over 500 teeth that were just buried in this mass. He's okay. He's fine. 526 teeth.
Did they say why it just kept producing teeth?
I don't think they know.
Really? They don't know.
They just kept pulling out 1 to 5 millimeter teeth out of this mass in his jaw.
Really? So it was legit teeth, not like broken up pieces.
No, yeah, these are stiff. They went and they counted it. It was the wildest story I've seen in a long time.
I'm just gonna call fake news on that one.
This appears to be real. Like there was no. This is not the Onion.
Sources.
Like yeah, this is going around social media.
And every time he brings up a story, I always have to look it up to make sure it is real.
Especially if it's the lead.
The asteroid story was real. That was crazy. Let's see.
Yeah, because last week we talked about how an asteroid recently just missed the Earth by, tens of thousands of miles, but in the grand scheme, like it was really close, and scientists didn't know until like 2 days before the fact, and by then it was too late, and we were just lucky that it just right.
Yes,
the teeth story is real.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was reminiscent of pearls in an oyster. It's a great way to explain it.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I go to the dentist, right?
Yeah, I would have had to charge him a little extra.
Right?
Like this isn't
does
your
not count as one visit.
Ronald, are you scared of the dentist at all?
Well, speaking of dentistry, I have 4 wisdom teeth waiting to be removed.
Same here.
Yes. Welcome to the club.
I have
removing mine.
so from the age of 18 or younger, I went to the dentist and he's like, all right, you got 2 teeth on the bottom that are halfway in and they're kind of going sideways. They're kind of pushing up against the teeth next to them. The 2 on top grew in completely. The 2 on the bottom, he said, look, they're causing problems. They're keeping stuff together against your teeth. There's not enough room in there for floss and all this jazz. That was when I was 18. Here we are at 30 and he's like, you still got to get them removed. They're still not terrible. Like, I don't know what to... I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like to do anything until it's necessary, something of that caliber.
Of course, some dentists just want your money, dude. You gotta understand that.
Of course, this guy's actual personal friend, so I would hope that it's not of that, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, true.
He's legitimately like, look, I'm looking at the x-rays, the molar next to it's getting worse and worse. But I mean, 12 years later, like this has been a story for a long time now.
Yeah, you just want to play the waiting game.
That's what I'm thinking right
until
now.
the pain is out of control. Right?
I have no pain though. That's part of the issue.
It doesn't come and go?
Never pain.
Oh.
I will not go to the dentist. I will remove it Castaway style.
So you don't even go to the dentist?
No, I mean I get my teeth cleaned.
Okay.
I'm not disgusting. I'm not getting my teeth removed.
Just not by a dentist.
Yeah.
So what's your situation? What's your situation, Ronald?
It was similar. They're growing on the bottom and on the top. I saw the X-rays, and they're I don't know the word, impeding on the native teeth. So I haven't had the pain that long, and again, like you, I've had some people tell me, hey, you don't got to get your wisdom teeth removed. It's a money-making scheme. But the dentists are pretty adamant that, hey, like the time has come. You need to get them removed. Stop playing around with your health. So I think I'm going to just, bite the bullet, have them remove it. Both of my parents have gotten it removed. So I think it has something to do with hereditary genetics.
I think it's genetics of us as humans, because I think at least and this is a complete made up number, but I would say 75% of people have gotten their wisdom teeth out. Like it's almost not a hereditary, but it's almost like everyone. Like if you have all your wisdom teeth and have never had one removed in your life, you're very lucky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Like I said, I went to a dentist 3 years ago. It was a new dentist under my insurance plan, and he was like, "Oh, you still have your wisdom teeth?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'm wise, and he said that he's like, "Yeah, you should probably get them removed." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Do they hurt?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, you should still do it though." I was like, yeah, you're real convincing. I'm leaving, dude. I was like, clean my teeth, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, I think the story here is that the claim is when they impede on other teeth, on the natives, as Ronald so eloquently said, the fear is that they will trap enough bacteria and issues against it that you're going to eventually lose the other tooth, which is a big deal. Like, if you lose your wisdom teeth, that's fine. If they rot out of your head, that sucks, but it's okay. The molar next to it is when you can start running into some problems, and so they try to be proactive with this kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm still not sold.
I got a huge mouth.
Well, we know that.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll revisit this in like a year
and
see where we're at. Elliot not going to the dentist.
No. I just gotta get my teeth clean, all right?
Yeah, so one of the things we like to do on this show when we have a guest host is kind of do a little bit of an interview very early on in the show so that the audience can kind of get to know who we have on the show, that we can kind of know, what we're working with. So as I said, Ronald Washington is a public information officer for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about that job here, but we also want to talk about Ninja because that's very pressing at the moment. Lots of big things going on in season 11 of American Ninja Warrior for Ronald. So, Ronald, I really want to start off. Can you tell me a little bit about, because you're a fantastic athlete, one of the best personally that I've ever seen. Just from someone, I've worked out with a ton of people in a ton of different areas of life. You are by far one of the best athletes that I've ever worked out with. So, I want to start with that. So, I'm curious of your athletic background.
Thank you. In high school, I wrestled, and that was all 4 years of high school. I decided not to continue and wrestle in college. I just worked out, in the gym, calisthenics. I worked at a weight room, so that helped. And then I discovered ATP, and that was when I began the class types, workout environment.
Is that where you were introduced to Ninja?
No.
Okay.
I was introduced to Ninja by the way of the show. I saw, American Ninja Warrior, and then I found out there was a gym in North Miami called Ninja Lounge. Gotcha. So I checked out Ninja Lounge, and then I found ATP, and then all these other ninja gyms started to sprout up around, or maybe I just, had an eye for them and discovered them, and then I just forced my way into the ninja world.
So we probably had a little bit of a different start with it, because when I was a fan of the show too, I just would watch, early seasons of American Ninja Warrior. And my first thought was I could absolutely never do this. I was out of shape, 170 pounds with no muscle, probably the worst shape of my life towards the tail end of college and around that time. And my first thought was just no way. I'll never be able to do this kind of working out. And eventually, my first foray into it was at J.J. Wood's gym in Miami, Miami Free Running, and I was so bad. I was terrible. He had these series of like spokes coming out of the wall, and as soon as I got up on one of them and tried to transition to the next one, fell off immediately. I had no single arm strength, no body weight strength. So I'm curious, because you obviously had a good athletic background. When you first started ninja type activities, were you good at it?
To be honest, the warped wall was my forte. That was my bread and butter. It's just simply running up a wall, and I wasn't too afraid of heights. Now, your catalyst was falling off a hold in the wall. My catalyst was falling off the salmon ladder.
Okay.
And seeing that, oh, man, I should be able to do this. I can do about 20 pull-ups. So that got me, to try again and revisit the ninja gym. And eventually, you know the feeling. Once you complete one obstacle, you kind of get hooked. It's just a quick feeling of success that you can easily tap into over and over because there's unlimited amounts of obstacles you can try.
And the salmon ladder actually was one of the things I tried on my first day at that gym. I spent, no lie, and I have video from it, probably a good hour on the salmon ladder. I got up one rung the entire day. So it was literally just me on the salmon ladder, fall, on my back over and over again. And then before we left, I got one rung, and that was like a huge moment for me.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Because then you see it's possible. If you can do one, you can build upon that and get up the whole entire ladder. So,
but that first day, that was sobering. That was that was unbelievable.
It's a wake up call for most, and it all depends on who you are, whether or not you're going to get up and try again, or whether you're just going to cut your losses and go home and stick to watching it from your couch.
During your training, when was the moment where you were like, I'm good at this?
Well, when I got called for the show, I figured, okay, they must have liked what I put together in my...
Which was your first season, by the way?
Season 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2016, they called me back. That was my first time applying. I was at 21 years old, the age limit, so I just barely made the cut. And I figured if I packaged together my talents, my personality, all that into a video that they deemed worthy of, getting a call, then maybe I am, pretty good at this sport. For what it's worth, my first season, I went out on the city qualifier. So that didn't convince me that, I'm just naturally gifted at the sport. But what that did was plant a seed and say, hey, if they let me go one time, maybe I should try again next year and, keep at it. And the show really taught me where my weaknesses were and what I needed to build upon.
I'm kind of intrigued by the timeline here because your first submission video was season 8.
Correct.
Which was the same as mine. I've been chosen 1 out of 4 times. I missed 8, I missed 10, and I missed 11. I got on season 9. Are you 3 for 4 or 2 for 4?
I'm 3 for 3.
Oh, the year you didn't get on
was season 10.
And you didn't submit.
I did not submit.
Interesting. What was that about?
I walked on season 10, or I attempted to walk online. I was number 16. They only ran 10 people. So because of weather and whatever else. It's a TV show. There's a lot of different variables.
Can I ask what went into not submitting that season?
Season 9, I got disqualified on the second obstacle, and that was just a big letdown. Like, I took it pretty hard. Family was out there wearing the Dynamite custom-made T-shirts. And, my submission video, I really hyped it up. I thought that was going to be my breakthrough season where I hit a buzzer, go to the national finals, whatever. I had a lot of people counting on me, and I had high expectations for myself that season. So getting disqualified in the city qualifiers on the second obstacle, I took it so hard that I said maybe I need to rethink, my choice. Like, is Ninja Warrior something that's in my future? Should I just let it go? I was going to take a break, and then I found out it was going to be held in Miami on season 10. So I was like, oh, man, everybody pressured me. It's in Miami. That's my backyard. I'm from Miami. I figured I might as well walk on the show and see what happens.
Do you think that, thinking and going in there like that with, I'll say, high expectations kind of limited your possibilities?
I think I should have had better expectations for myself, more realistic expectations for myself.
Right.
But there's not many things you can control going into the show. Mm-hmm. You make one simple mistake and you're done. Your season can end in the snap of the blink of an eye.
I fought, and going into every fight, I always think that I'm going to get my ass kicked, like royally.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have to fight bigger, stronger people than I, and the expectation is, I'm going to get pummeled, I'm going to get knocked out, I'm going to sleep. Although I've never been knocked out, that's my expectation. It's almost like the fear pushes you to win and succeed. So that was my reasoning behind the question is, should fear, be the motivator sometimes?
It's completely dependent on the person. There are some people who go into everything saying, I'm the best, I'm going to win this entire thing. And then there are people who are going in like, maybe I'm going to reverse jinx things. Maybe that's more of your approach where it's just like, oh, nothing good is going to come from this. So if I expect the worst, anything above that is a win. There's a lot of different mentalities.
Yeah, fear is always a motivating factor for me. But having high expectations, you can use that to your advantage. And sometimes it can turn out to be, something that doesn't serve you.
How important is on American Ninja Warrior getting the ideal course? Just because I think it's a great example because the season that you went out on, it was the rolling pin, right?
Yes.
I was on the Wingnuts that year and had no idea how to do anything on that. And that was the famous straighten your arms bro story. And I had no clue what to do in that situation. And I was unprepared. And I think I got lucky with that second obstacle being the rolling pin because that played in so much to my strengths of just being able to like hug something, because if that had been a lache of any kind, flywheels, any sort of TikTok, I would have been done completely. But I got literally the one thing that I could have been good at, which was holding on for dear life at that point. So speak to how important it is to just, it's either your night or it's not your night, and a lot of it is dependent on the course.
Yes. A lot of it is trusting your instinct, and I doubted myself. So my expectations, yes, they were high, but at the same time, I was doubting my capability. Like with that obstacle, I saw Jessie Graff do it one way where she held onto her leg. She wrapped her body and held onto her leg, but she did not use her leg on the rolling pin, which they said would disqualify you. So when I saw that, I said, oh, that's a safe way. You know, I want to just get through that obstacle. I knew it wasn't too tricky, but I wanted to make sure I got through it. Sure. I hate failing easy obstacles. And I tried to mimic her technique. That just didn't work for me. My leg ended up swinging over and wrapping around that pin. Although I made it to the platform, I didn't touch the water at all. They told me, you're disqualified, hit the red lights, and my season was over that fast.
Was that kind of like almost a wake-up call to do things your way at that point?
Yes. That was a wake-up call big time, to have a plan and not let what other people are doing, their techniques, infiltrate my own ideas.
So we've seen parts of your season 11, which amazingly is still going because we're past the city finals now. We're into, at least in some cities, for the Southeast, we are past the city finals. So if you've been following along with American Ninja Warrior, Ronald is heading to Vegas, which is an extremely exciting proposition. He made the top 15 in city finals, which is unbelievable. Congratulations. That's a fantastic accomplishment. He also had a viral moment from the city qualifying episode, which I thought was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the sport. He was on an obstacle called the Ferris wheel, right?
Yes.
And so this Ferris wheel, you climb up these cliffhanger-esque holds, and in a wheel fashion, it slams to the ground. And as Ronald was coming down, the lights went out, and they called it like this power outage. Can you speak at all to what you saw during that moment?
I was seeing red because my grip was slowly dying out, and I knew I didn't have much left. And they didn't show this in that little clip of Akbar's moments, but right after that last jolt, I tried to reach on the second Ferris wheel. I tried to reach up. I missed. I tried to reach up again, and I lost feeling in my hands, and I let go. Ooh. So I fell out. I fell into the water on that obstacle. But I made it far enough, fast enough to get onto the city finals.
Very cool.
Didn't notice the power went out, though, at all.
That was just such a cool moment because it makes you look like the strongest athlete in the world to just put the lights out on the course.
Yeah,
one of the coolest
I don't think I'm quite that strong.
So I like to break things up on this show. You know, we got plenty of time. We're going to come back to more of the interview with Ronald, talk a little bit about his job in wildlife and all that cool stuff that he does. But one thing I wanted to get into this week is diet, because that's an important thing that we haven't touched on a ton on this show. I'm curious, Ronald, if you follow a specific diet plan, stuff like that. We're going to talk about that in a second. I thought this was really interesting. I have a fitness magazine, and an article was published not too long ago. And it talked about the effects of blueberries. And this is just a solitary example of how I don't think people realize just how important their diets are. They want to, you know, they're quick to get on medication. They're quick to think that it's a bigger problem than it might very well be. This study actually said that having a daily dose of blueberries can actually cut, in this research they said, people noticed a blood pressure drop equivalent to medication. So that just completely fascinated me. One thing, adding a cup or however many blueberries it was a day to their diets, had a medicine-like effect on their blood pressure. And it just made me think, like, if we ate right, and I eat well, but I don't eat that well. Like, I mean, if we all ate as well as we should, how many medication situations could be avoided? How many pills people could be taken off of? You know, all this thing. There's so much out there that I don't think we're quite giving the right respect to our diets.
I would say that a diet has a lot to do with how you live and how long you live, or, you know, how well you live. But to say that, something is going to eliminate totally, what diseases or what effects happen to your body, I don't believe it, because I think no matter what, you're probably going to get something. There's no doubt. I mean, in the most demonic or dark way to say it is, we don't live forever.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
we're not like Chris Traeger from Parks and Rec, who thinks he's
Right.
the first human to live to 150. Like
Right,
that's
exactly.
probably not where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean,
But at the same time, I do think there's something to be said for how many things can be avoided, how many pills.
well, yeah, I mean, a donut is different than a blueberry,
Of course.
And natural holistic methods are way different than pills because, I don't take pills, not for headaches, not for migraines, and I get tons of migraines all the time, probably because of the brain damage. And I mean, even when I tore my hamstring, they're like, oh, well, you have to take ibuprofen. And I was like, I'm not taking that stuff. I'll just chill out. I don't.
Interesting.
I don't care. I'm not going to use it. It's a man-made thing to alter your body. It just covers up and it doesn't really heal your body. So I'm not going to take it. You could have the same effects by just eating right, and you get all those vitamins and nutrients, and that will completely lower the inflammation in your body.
Ronald, I'm curious both, what if you follow a certain diet type of plan and what your thoughts are on diets in general, healing the body.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that today I had oatmeal for breakfast with flaxseed, cinnamon, nutmeg, and some agave nectar. Now, for lunch, I had salad with veggie burger on top. That was the only processed food I had today was the veggie burger on top. So I follow a mostly plant-based diet, and the only time I'll eat something derived from animal products is when I'm out. When I'm outside of my house, and if it's provided for free, like yesterday, that's a big part of it.
If I'm not buying it, yeah, I'll eat it.
A vegan goes out the window, right? For that.
So I'm on the side, I'm a food rescuer. I strongly believe, and this probably came from my Jamaican grandmother, that we waste way too much food in this society,
Sure.
and, at least in America.
That's why I got fat. I swear.
Oh yeah, he's talked about this on previous
Yes.
episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to hear this. This is interesting.
I don't eat leftovers.
But you don't look fat, for the record. I know everybody's
I
listening.
lost a lot of weight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
They know
you
what I
got
look like.
fat because
I got fat because I do not do leftovers. So my biggest thing was like, well, you're gonna finish it, dude.
Wow.
You better finish it because I'm not taking this food home, and two, even if if there is something left over, I'm not gonna eat it. I'm gonna throw it away eventually, and I don't waste food.
Okay, so you would always try to clean your plate.
Yeah, that's
like a true fatty potato.
I'm the same way.
Yes.
My grandma would find the smallest speck. I mean, you would need a magnifying glass. I don't know how she made it up. She'd say, "Hey, don't throw that plate away. Finish it or give it to me." And that kind of stuck with me. Those old habits die hard when you're young, and somebody constantly like impresses upon you the importance of that's one thing for me. So the only time I eat animal-based products is when I'm out and when it's for free. But at home, I like to practice a plant-based diet because it burns clean for me. It's just like a high-performance diet that works for me. I call it my livelihood. I don't really just call it a diet. That's how I live.
So you would reap the rewards of a mostly vegan diet, you would say?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the blueberries thing, I can certainly believe that. Yeah, I don't take any high blood pressure medicine. I don't take any prescription medicine right now. Just I supplement. But I can certainly believe that. Did Socrates say, "Let food be thy medicine"? Or Hippocrates? One of those philosophers said, "Let food be thy medicine."
One of those old Greek guys, right?
Yeah. And I think it can still hold true today if you truly let it be your medicine and don't just eat for pleasure.
Interesting.
Oh, that's me. I eat for pleasure.
Do you eat carbs, Ronald? Because we've had this conversation, and I
we
almost
don't conversate. We argue.
I almost killed him on air, of his own volition. He almost exploded on air because I told him that in one day it's very possible that I'll have the big four: pasta, bread, rice, and potatoes all in the same day.
You disgust me.
Very rare, but they don't bother me when they're consumed in the right way. When it's whole grain or Ezekiel type bread, when it's baked or sweet potatoes, when it's wild or brown rice.
I'll throw up. Oh, man.
Well, the reason he probably almost exploded was because he was starved of carbs.
Uh-oh.
It can do that to you.
I love it.
No, but trust me, you can try this, or you can, attest to this. When you've had a big plate of pasta and then you go for a run the next day, it burns clean. It gets
have that
you
energy
through that run. And, the evidence speaks for itself. I'm not big into naming all these diets. Once you find what works for you, whether it be through a nutritionist or through you experimenting with different diets, stick to it. I don't think too much change. If you're in your 40s and you've already tried every single diet, then, man, I don't know, you're doing something wrong. You need to find out what works, even if it means simplifying your diet, and stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, though, I eat carbs from fruit, not from starches.
Right, that's his area.
Mr. Starch Man. Okay.
I love him.
Mr.
What can
Pasta
I say?
Potato.
I'm not going to have white bread or white pasta, but in the right sources,
and I can't eat.
It gives you necessary fiber for your gut health.
We went to Olive Garden last night because I go to Olive Garden a lot.
Absolutely.
But eating that plate of pasta, I want to throw up. Legit throw up. Like, I love it. Like, I'm Italian. I've ate pasta. I used to eat a whole 16-ounce box of pasta when I was 7 years old. Like, bring it here, mama. But I get sick from it. I'm just like, do
you think that's mental, though, at this point?
No, it's not, because I was never like that until I started cutting the carbs out of my life. And now it's like, okay.
If you call that living, right?
Yeah. But, and I don't know if it's because of the extreme dieting that I have done for boxing, like cutting 36 pounds in 3 weeks. That might be the cause of it. But I also view it as like, okay, well, I could live without pasta. Like, I could have blueberries and raspberries and acai and pomegranate in the morning, throw it in a shake, chug it down, and hit the gym and run and feel the same way as if I had a 4-ounce thing of pasta.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and
who are we to tell you that's
of
wrong?
Of course, yeah.
And we've argued, but it's like, we always come to
each
the
his
agreement
own,
of,
yeah.
like, you know what, if it works for you and you're still healthy, it's like, okay, whatever. But like, we argued lightheartedly because I'm that's gross, but
yeah,
right, take jabs.
So we're gonna jump into some wild and wacky here, which first timer Ronald, but I know you've heard it. Crazy stories from around the world, just news that makes me laugh or makes me open my mouth and just cannot believe what I'm reading. And then we throw it up for some open discussion. So we got a few stories from around the globe today. The first story I have here it's actually in the sports world. We don't always get that, but I know Elliot's celebrating over there. NFL player cut after tantrum, fight, and truly bizarre touchdown celebration. A tantrum, a fight, and a bizarre touchdown celebration ended with one NFL player running a post pattern straight to the unemployment line. Now former Baltimore Raven Jordan Lasley got his walking papers Wednesday after a crazy week that included fighting with teammates, scoring a touchdown, and inexplicably throwing a football into a pond. Lasley, a 2018 fifth-round pick out of UCLA, started out his terrible week by fighting with Ravens cornerback Cyrus Jones during drills. When safety Bennett Jackson tried to break it up, Lasley fought him too. Fights are nothing new in training camps, but what happened next was surely a first. Lasley hauled in a touchdown pass and then promptly hurled the pigskin into a nearby pond. Days later, the Ravens cut him. Coach John Harbaugh insisted it had nothing to do with the fighting, and the team can surely afford footballs. What's the craziest touchdown celebration you've seen?
I don't know, but I like the comment. He could afford the pigskins.
Yeah,
the question was it worth it?
It's in the budget.
Those training camps, they have a bunch of footballs. So I think that was just the cherry on top. Like, there was a lot of repeated, probably misbehaving that happened from that guy.
I feel like I would have really struggled not to just like fall over laughing though when I saw the dude just launch it into the pond.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and from a sports perspective, he's a late pick in the 5th round. He's most likely getting cut anyway. And then you act like a total, jabroni out there, and you're just not impressing, the coaches. Like, yeah, cool. You hauled in a touchdown pass, and then you just threw the football instead of maturely being like, yeah, I just scored a touchdown.
He didn't just throw it. He launched it.
Yeah, he hauled, he taped it to the space shuttle and freaking threw it out into a pond. It's like, okay, dude, it's like you're trying to impress people. Right now, you're ticking people off. It's not the cost of the ball. It's not because, the fights, and because training camp fights happen.
Yeah.
Like, every team has them. Like, the Eagles have them, and they won the Super Bowl. It's like people skipped out on OTAs. They won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. But what you're not doing is impressing your coaches by doing stuff like that. So,
Ronald, what would be your go-to touchdown celebration? You score in a big game, you got that ball in your hands, celebrating's legal again. What would you do?
Man, if I could do a backflip, I'd totally do a backflip. Otherwise, I'd probably spin the ball.
Yeah.
Back when I
Warm
used to
your hands
play
a bit.
NFL Street, I think it was. You know, they used to have the most badass touchdown celebrations. So spinning the ball, though, that one I always kept with me.
Really?
And then kicking it. Yeah, if that was allowed, I'd do that.
See, I was a big wrestling fan, so I would do like every wrestling taunt there is every time I scored a touchdown, like the DX crotch chop, and then like Ultimate Warrior, just like, you know, just getting real crazy.
I believe it. Second story. Spotted a swarm of ladybugs so huge it showed up on National Weather Service radar. National Weather Service meteorologists noticed something puzzling on their radar screens in Southern California on Tuesday evening, a big green blob. So the meteorologists called a weather spotter in Wrightwood, California, near the blob's location in San Bernardino County. Oswant says the spotter told them the mysterious cloud was actually a giant swarm of ladybugs. On the radar, the cloud of insects looked like a light rainstorm, not quite the density of a severe thunderstorm, she says. They were flying about a mile above the ground, she said, in the cloud that was about 10 miles wide.
Was that in California, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if that has anything to do with the grasshopper swarm that was seen from space, like these bugs going wild.
A 10-mile cloud.
Bugs gone wild.
I can't imagine. They can just pick you up.
BUGWILD, bug gone wild.
A 10... I don't even know, like, because don't they say that a ladybug landing on you is good luck or something like that? I mean, could you imagine 10 miles?
My body into that
right?
Storm.
That's a lot of good luck. That is a lot of good luck.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it showing up on a weather radar service, though? Oh, looks like it's going to rain later. Better take my umbrella.
Yeah, it's just...
That's not what I expected.
It's just ladybugs just hitting you in the face.
Where are they going, though, is my question. These grasshoppers, these ladybugs, what are they
I think
running
something
from?
might be pissed is my more likely explanation, that all these bugs are coming to get us. It might be a plague at this point.
Well, I mean, they do say that they're more gassy fish than the bugs.
There's what?
I'm making a dumb joke. The little VW bug.
Oh.
It's a hybrid, right?
Yeah. Maybe they're sponsored by Volkswagen.
Third and final story. Oregon man steals cookies while wearing Cookie Monster shirt, police say. Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? Apparently, a man dressed in a Cookie Monster shirt, according to police. Someone donning a shirt featuring the famed Blue Sesame Street character allegedly entered a convenience store in Forest Grove, Oregon, in the middle of the night on July 22nd and ate half a package of cookies and then left without paying. This is perhaps the most on-the-nose story that we've ever had on the Wild and Wacky.
We get a lot of those.
What do you think this guy's motive? Okay, so I know where you always go with these stories, but do you think this is going to hold true once again for the Cookie Monster stealing the cookies here? Is that your explanation?
Drugs.
Yeah, that's your go-to with these stories.
Drugs. That's all it ever is drugs.
That's no other motivation possible here?
It's got to be like a prank video too. Like, he knows what he's doing. Right? I mean, he's probably high and like, let's put on a Cookie Monster shirt and get some cookies.
I think he wanted to make the news, and he succeeded.
Yeah.
He made the news.
Right,
and now we're talking about him for wearing a Cookie Monster shirt and just eating some cookies. Why not finish the bag of cookies, though? That's what the Cookie Monster would have did.
That's right. That's a good point. Cookies. That's a really good point. Maybe he's doing a disservice by not finishing the cookies.
Oh, that poor cookie company is probably like, damn, that says a lot about our cookies. Even the Cookie Monster won't finish them.
they were not good enough. We're going to have to re-look at the recipe.
That's a lot of carbs taken.
I like it. Get some whole wheat cookies in here, man.
Ooh, that sounds disgusting.
That does not sound good at all.
That's a cracker.
But plenty of fiber, right?
Oh, God.
For all your gut health needs.
Oh, Jesus. Whole grain cookies.
Looking to get sponsored here, right?
I hope.
By whole wheat cookies.
So let's jump back into the interview with Ronald. I want you to talk about life in the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Tell the listeners at home how what that life is like and how you're able to kind of balance it with ninja training and stuff like that.
Well, it's the wildlife, the fish and wildlife.
Right.
The people and the animals. Sometimes they're so unpredictable, and that's what gets me out of bed and makes me look forward to going to work each day. You just never know what call is going to come out. Sometimes you have, for people that don't know, we have bears, panthers, eagles, alligators, crocodiles, you name it, in South Florida, in your backyard. So for those people who only see it on TV, if you take a trip to the Everglades, these are some wild animals that you might run into. And, there is this organization called FWC, which I work for, I've been doing it for the past 5 years now, that we're sworn law enforcement officers, and we go out there to try our best to protect and preserve all the beautiful natural resources in Florida for long-term use for our kids and future generations.
Do you have a really interesting story to share?
There was a Naples guy last week who had alligators and bobcats as pets and a gopher tortoise as pets in his house.
Okay.
And he got caught. We busted him. We put them back where they belong. Just for those who don't know, it's illegal to have an alligator as a pet. That's a federal.
I would imagine that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
even
it's
in
a
Florida.
protected species.
Even in Florida, not even Florida man gets permission.
Florida man is exempt from that rule.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now, a couple questions I have. What does the fox say? I had to throw that in there.
You want to do that one, Andrew?
I got a kid, so I got to ask these dumb questions, you know?
No, I'll leave that to you, man.
There you go. Yes.
Oh, man. You caught me off guard with that one.
That's funny.
I did.
They say a lot.
Ask your, yeah, because I had one more, and then
You lost it?
I lost it because I got so excited on that fox question.
Okay. So if someone says, hey, it is ninja training that's going to get me interested in working out, because if you're not interested in working out, it never works out. You know, no pun intended. If you hate running, you're not going to find running to be what ends up making you love working out in most cases. So let's say they're watching the show on TV and they're like, this looks amazing. This is what's finally going to, make me get into shape. What advice do you have for someone who's just starting out with ninja training to kind of get them in? And I want you to kind of say maybe for different age groups, even like let's say someone's kid wants to get started and then an adult in your mind.
Okay. If you truly see yourself as a ninja warrior, even if it's beyond the TV show, if you just want to do it for fun and be able to conquer some of the obstacles, know that there will be pain in the beginning. Expect it, embrace it. Your hands are not adapted to hanging on wood and different gnarly
Metals,
holds. Yeah, bells, you name it, cliffhangers for long periods of time. It's grueling on your hands, your skin. You can't wear gloves. Gloves are frowned upon by all ninjas, all real ninjas. So you're going to have a couple rips in the beginning. But if you can expect that and get past that and know that your hands are going to heal, and take care of those calluses, then the sport will become a ton of fun once you get over that hump. But just like trying any new activity, there's going to be a couple stumbles in the beginning. But if you stick to it, then trust me. Look at me. I've been doing it already for 4 years, and I love it.
So for someone like me, right, I have no feeling in 4 of my 10 fingers. Okay?
I don't think I knew this.
I have told you this.
Have you?
Yeah.
On air?
I don't know about on air.
Okay. That's when I'm listening.
Is that the only time you listen when I talk? Thanks. I appreciate that one.
Only when the mic's on, otherwise I can't hear you.
Otherwise you're like, oh, screw this guy. So from boxing I have lost all feelings in my pinkies and now in my ring fingers and then somewhat in my thumb. And now my toes too are going. It's just a big tragedy. So doing Ninja Warrior seems impossible for me because I don't know what I'm feeling. Like lifting weights is tough because I can't go too heavy. Like I just hit 90 pounds on the dumbbell press, which is impressive, but I can't do too much because my hands can't grip for too long. So how does someone like that get into the ninja or keep trying? Like, will that build it or will it just probably make it worse?
Well, there's a lot you said there. I think, first of all,
it would probably depend what you have to.
Casually just said, oh, yeah, I'm starting to lose feeling in my toes, so I'd recommend you go get that checked out before you lose your foot.
Yeah.
But I was thinking initially that might be an advantage. I wish sometimes I couldn't feel my fingers and still be able to use them. But I can see how if you can't feel it, then you probably are going to end up letting go, and that can work against you. But you lost your feeling, and did you stop boxing or did you continue when you lost feeling in your hands?
Do I have to answer that?
Yeah, I think just looking at him, we know he kept going.
Yeah.
So you're still boxing?
I was supposed to fight in July, but yeah, I'll be fighting in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I keep doing it.
High expectations.
I want to get knocked out, and I've said that before on the show.
That I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a guy who said that he wants to, for charity, get hit by sticks from hockey players.
Oh yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
We have to set that up.
See, that was on air. I listened.
Yes.
You remind me of the guy who Gabby and I saw in Vegas who had a sign,
I was gonna say that.
kick me in the nuts as hard as you can.
Oh yeah, that I won't do.
But for like
I
a
cherish those.
But you like hit me in the face as hard as you can, see if you can knock me out.
Yeah.
But
That I would do.
yeah, that sounds like fun. Maybe we could set something up with gloves, obviously.
Yeah, always gloves. Like bare knuckle is just too.
That's classless.
That's just That's
Yeah.
dirty.
I mean, all right. So to answer your question, for you to get into ninja, I don't know how that would affect you because I have feeling in all 5 of my fingers. So yeah, that's a
5?
good question.
Oh, each
That's what we always say on this show. Like,
hand.
all 5 of my fingers. Like, where's your other hand, buddy?
we always preface everything on this show that if it's something we haven't personally experienced or it's a medical issue, to usually refer people out because we're not going to give expert advice when we haven't gone through
it's
it.
just funny though because like I'm thinking it's like would it be an advantage? Or,
I had the same thought that there are times where I wish I couldn't feel it because it hurts so much.
Yeah, you end up stop training because it just becomes so tender that you just can't bear the pain.
And that's the thing too is like when lifting weights is like cool. It's like I got this. I don't know what I'm touching right now, but I can. Lift
But I got this.
But I can lift it up, and then after a while, you're just like, okay, like I don't know what I'm doing right now because I can't feel anything.
Really getting to know your friend here, Elliot. I mean, he likes to get knocked. He wants to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Doesn't have much feeling in his hands, yet he continues to box.
Well,
and he doesn't go to the dentist.
I said I went to the dentist. I said I'm not getting my teeth pulled.
No
I think
wonder,
we all said that.
Yeah.
So I know whose idea it was for this health and wellness podcast.
Elliot's like, help me.
Yeah.
Help
me
me.
out.
Help me. I got questions.
We're here for you, Elliot.
But, okay, so the thing with the being knocked out part, and you could probably relate, okay?
Okay,
Because
yeah.
you are in competitive sports, just like Andrew, and we spoke about this. It's the fact that I've boxed, I've done MMA, and I've done it well. Maybe not the most formal or the best techniques and all that stuff.
For sure.
A lot of times it was very, very bad fights, but I still won. And the satisfaction of never getting knocked out or always winning kind of wants to keep pushing you into that sport, even though I should have retired maybe 3 years ago.
There's a part of you probably that feels like you didn't get the complete experience because you haven't been knocked out.
Right.
Have
or
you been
I haven't
choked
lost.
out?
No, nothing.
Well, we can make that happen.
Ron's like, let's go right now. I got
wanna be
something to show you.
I don't want to be just randomly choked out. Like, it's the.
You
Like,
got to put that on air at least. You got to
and I
live
have,
Facebook
I
that.
have lost a couple boxing matches in my early childhood. I went 24-3 as a boxer, and it's impressive. But it was never because of knockout. It was because of decision. It was like, okay, did I lose or did I not lose? And one of my biggest things is, well, I did lose because it went to decision. You should never leave it up to the judges.
Right.
But it's almost like Tom Brady. He keeps winning, so why should he retire? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
watch
So
football,
you want your
so-
swan
yeah.
song. You want someone to say, you're done. Pop.
Yeah,
You're
like,
out. That's the end.
Like
Retirement.
if somebody just crushes my face in,
So you don't believe in going out on top.
it's impossible. Like okay,
Well,
so
Floyd
with Brett-
Mayweather did it.
yeah. But he still flutters with, I want to fight, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's always like, I'm ready to go back.
You
in,
want that
whatever.
book closed shut.
Right. It's like Brett Favre. It was like, okay, retire, dude. But he kept going places until finally he wasn't going places. And it was like, okay, now I can retire because I gave everything I have and I am a complete nothing, and now it's ready to just go.
I feel you. Yeah, you want the
Interesting.
sport to make the decision, you don't want it left
Right.
up to your own.
Although a lot of people are like, you are severely injured. You should that should be your calling card.
I'm one who believes in going out on top. I don't want any tarnishment to the legacy. I mean, what is that Eminem quote? He said, "When your time's up, just admit when it's it, it's it." Like that's it. When it's it, it's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I should, but it still flutters with me. Like, yeah,
I get it.
I ripped my shoulder blade out last fight, and that should be like, yeah, you're done. But it's like, nah, I'll still do it. It's repairable.
Interesting.
Ronald, what's your favorite obstacle in Ninja?
Favorite obstacle? Warped wall. I've gotten the mega wall. I've gotten the 18-foot. I love the warped wall, and until I can't do a warped wall, I think that's going to remain my favorite obstacle.
What about your training schedule? Because I think there's some people may have the habit of seeing a really good athlete, which you are,
Thank you.
they might make the mistake of saying, this guy is just an athlete. He's just built that way. It's genetics, whatever. But when I really got to know you and we started following each other on social media and I saw more into your life, I saw the 5 a.m. workouts. I saw the time and the blood, sweat, and tears that you poured into the sport. So what is your training schedule like that enables you to be an athlete of this quality?
Yeah, well, you've seen the 5 a.m. workouts with my wife, Gabby. We wake up and we'll go to the track. We try to do a little bit of something just to get our blood flowing throughout the day, first thing in the morning. So I'll work out with her and then go to ATP at 6:30 a.m. So it'll be a double whammy for the start of my day. Then I go to work. And on now Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I usually do 2-a-days. One workout in the morning and one in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel ludicrous because I'm the only one in the gym, but when I see some success, I see it paying off, like going to Vegas, that really shows me, okay, that's what it was all for. I'm not crazy. It's you get out what you put in.
What should the people look for as you head towards the national finals here? I know obviously they're sworn to secrecy. They can't say anything, and we don't even want you to because we want people to be surprised. But do you have like a message that you want to get across for people as they head towards the national finals?
Just watch it and know that I didn't expect to be there. So I was just I was on cloud 9. Like, my feet weren't even on the ground. I was just so in disbelief. Like you said, it's unbelievable. I made it to the national finals. And my previous season 9, I had gotten disqualified on the second obstacle in the city qualifier. So to go from that to the national finals, just remember that as my mentality when you see what happens.
One thing that we always like to do as we end an interview, not necessarily end the show, but end an interview, is this show is very big on mental health. So we had Ben on last week to talk about, from a professional standpoint, some mental health tips and stuff like that. But we definitely know that it's tough out there. It's dog eat dog world, and a lot of people are feeling down. A lot of people have things going wrong in their lives. And the one thing that I've said every week on the show, and I continue to hammer home, is that the things that make me happy may not make the person listening happy. The things that make Elliot happy might not be what everyone out there needs to hear. That's why when we bring on these guests, we like to take each person's mindset, because if we can find that one thing that resonates with that one person and makes that one person happier, and a single person listening this week or 5 years from now on YouTube finds this in the archives and hears it and says, you know what, I do need that to be a little happier, the show has done its job. So the question is, what makes Ronald happy is just the baseline question. What do you do for your mental health that makes you a happier person?
Getting out of my comfort zone. So real-time communication. Right now, doing this, I was a little nervous coming to do this podcast. It's my first podcast, and having this long-form conversation, I'm opening up to you, and that's uncomfortable. And I think if more people would change their habits and find out, if you are dealing with mental depression, what's causing that, and just make those little changes. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. That might go a long way in reducing, whatever stress or depression you might be feeling. Interesting.
Do you have any go-to activities that you like to do that kind of makes you happy?
Getting on my boat at work. Get out in nature. Get out, whether it's on the water or in the Everglades. If you live here, I know you got a lot of listeners from Florida. Go see something different. Get out on an airboat tour or a charter fishing boat, but see what's out there. There's so much to appreciate.
So I think we're going to jump back in with some host feud here. We've tried this once before. My co-host, Elliot, is undefeated. He took down Kai 2 weeks ago.
Can't quit.
We did not play it with Ben last week, but I think Ronald is up for the challenge here. So again, this is just like Family Feud. To buzz in, either say buzz or say your name. That's how you'll get first crack at the question, and we'll see whoever gets more right here. So our first question this week: name a pro sports team named after a bird.
Eagles. Oh, Buzz.
And yes, Eagles is actually the number one answer. So that was very fortunate for you. That was your squad there.
Even though he didn't buzz.
Right. But he did buzz the second. If you had said buzz before he buzzed, I would have given it to you. But
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But now it's
we got all sorts of new rules coming in.
Now it's just naturally over to Ronald. Ronald, your guess.
Go ahead.
A pro sports team.
Oh, I get to do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
there's
Ravens.
7 answers.
Sorry, Ravens.
Or 6 answers. Who'd you say?
Baltimore Ravens.
That is correct. That's number 4. So Ronald picks up the points. Elliot's got the Eagles. Elliot, back over to you.
I'll go Falcons. Stick with football.
That's number 5. Elliot picks up number 5 with the Falcons. Yep.
Oh, BS.
Ronald, back over to you.
I'm going to say the Cardinals.
That's number 2.
Ooh, that's good because that covers 2 sports. That's a good one.
That's exactly. Very smart.
Smart guy.
So we've got 2 answers, number 3 and number 6 remaining.
I'll go with the trendy Seahawks.
Incorrect. Not on the board. X.
Are you serious?
No Seahawks. Ronald, over to you.
Did they not survey hipsters?
From Seattle? I guess not.
Oh, man, struggling. I'm shooting a blank.
You're going to pass?
Yeah.
Oh, over to Elliot.
I'll go with the other Baltimore team, the Orioles.
That's not it. No.
What?
X.
What?
Wrong. Incorrect. No Orioles. Back over to Ronald.
Come on, you're the
It's a
wildlife
2-2
guy.
game.
You should just be flipping
What'd
out
you
birds.
see out in the
Yeah.
Everglades the other day?
Just start flipping out birds. Oh yeah. Oh, I know. Oh yeah.
I know you already said the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's 2-2, but Elliot has the number one answer, so he's in the lead.
nah, I'm shooting a blank.
Passing again.
Yes.
Canes.
The who?
Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes.
That's not a bird.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
technically, their mascot is a bird.
Sebastian Ibis.
Yes, but it's
Yes.
named after a natural disaster. Incorrect.
Ah.
X3, you're out. Ronald, you got one chance left.
You're out.
Oh, the Penguins.
No, that's actually a good guess, but no. I guess they didn't take flightless birds. The final answers you guys missed. The Blue Jays was number 3.
The Blue Jays.
I think Gabby knew. Ronald's wife is in the building, and I think she knew that one. And number 6 was the Hawks.
The Atlanta Hawks.
the
I was gonna go
basketball team.
Pelicans.
You almost the Seahawks. You were close.
When he said Seahawks, I was like, "There's something I'm missing."
Yeah. So
man.
Elliot's got a slight lead. You guys tied 2-2, but Elliot had the higher answer. One more question. I don't like this question, but there are a couple of answers that made me laugh, so I'm going to throw this one, and it's also very much related to us. So the next question is, remember you guys got a buzz at the beginning of this one. Tell me something people in Florida do a bit more than people in Minnesota.
Buzz. Go to the beach.
That's number 1. Big number 1 for Elliot again.
I do have an advantage on this one though.
Why, are you from Minnesota?
No, well, my son's mother is.
Oh.
And that's where they were for a while. 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
I don't think it means specifically Minnesota. It's more of a south-north thing, but
Yeah.
what you said is, yeah.
Yeah.
Ronald, over to you.
Disney World. Buzz.
I have to go look through the 8 answers that are on the board here.
8?
Yeah, there's 8 answers, and Disney's not on here. It's a great answer, but no, it's not on there. Elliot, over to you.
So it's something Floridians do, but not Minnesota.
It says a bit more than people in Minnesota.
I'll say deep sea fishing.
Fishing, number 4.
But see, I don't like that answer because they go ice fishing. So that's why I went with deep sea fishing.
Interesting. Well, you got it right anyway.
Yeah,
Technicality aside.
I know. That bothers me.
You almost get a bonus point for pointing that out.
I'm cheating the system right now.
Ronald, what's it going to be, man? What do you do in Florida?
Wear tank tops and flip flops.
Summer clothes, number 7.
Wow, that's a good one. I would never thought of that.
Pulled that one out. That is a tough one. Elliot.
Day drink.
No.
Okay.
Day drinking is not on there.
I would be drinking myself out if I was in
Sunbathe, suntan.
I'm trying to see if we can give it to him here.
What is it?
Actually, I don't think so. Afterwards, we'll come back, and if you guys agree that it's
Okay.
close enough, we'll give him the points. But I'm going to say no for now on tanning.
Okay.
Elliot,
I'll say boating.
I'm going to say not quite. No. Also no.
Yeah.
Blame Family Feud. These are actual questions from the board game version of Family Feud.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not
Bird
buying the
watching.
game. Yeah, you would go that.
No.
Not on there.
No. I'm going to give you guys each one more guess here. Elliot.
Okay, something a Floridian will do compared to a Minnesotan. Something stupid.
Very good answer, but no.
Really?
No. No Florida man
What
on
are
here.
these answers?
Ronald, last licks here.
Last guess. Okay, let's make this one good.
Got to get the music in the background.
Hiking.
Hiking. No, not
Okay.
quite. No.
They're both flat. That's tough.
What
to
did
hike.
you thought you had one there at the
I was
end?
gonna say jet skiing.
No.
Oh.
So the number 2 answer was swim/surf.
Swim.
Swimming and surfing. Related to the beach, but different.
Yeah.
The number 3 answer is half the reason why I put it on here because I thought, what is this game going after? Fresh oranges is the number
I thought
3.
of oranges, but I'm
Really?
like, how do you say
Oh.
they do oranges?
I thought it was hilarious, but Ronald was on the right track.
We do orange.
Number 5 was
You
sweating.
sicko.
People sweat more in Florida. 6 was bathing suits. And number 8 was golf.
Golf. Yeah. See,
Golfing's
I hate golf.
a good answer.
I hate golf, so I was like, doesn't even pop up in my head.
I should have got the swimming one, and I don't golf either. So yeah, that was off my radar.
That might have been another narrow victory for Elliot because he picked up the number 1 answers, but it was close. Very competitive. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Someone's going to take you down someday, though.
I doubt it. I was a champion.
Oh.
I was a champion in cornhole. That has anything to do with anything.
Something stupid should have been the first answer.
That was a very good answer.
Florida man.
Yeah, for sure. So one of our listeners, Rob, wanted us to talk about a specific subject this week, and it actually made me happy because he said he's had some success after listening to the show, but he still wants more.
Really?
Yeah, so I think he came to us saying that he was sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night, and that was it.
Right.
And he wanted some sleep tips because we have talked about on this show how important sleep is. You need your 7 to 9,
yeah, that's
7 to 8
right.
hours.
I believe I told him to eat more items with tryptophan in it, like eggs and almonds and stuff like that.
Provided a lot of examples. He said he's now sleeping better. He's struggling to fall asleep still, is what he said.
Okay.
So this is very much up my alley, and I really don't want to repeat myself as too much about what I talked about in episode 1, but I truly believe that is my specialty. If there's anything that I've come from awful and become really good at, it's falling asleep. I was the guy who would always spend 3 hours in bed at night, couldn't fall asleep, terrible sleeper, and just turned everything around, and many nights now it's virtually instant. So I'm going to quickly go back through, and if you want the longer version, I encourage you, Rob, to check out episode 1 again, but just to run through again, and then I'm going to throw it up to my co-host here. What has really turned my life around completely with falling asleep faster, it starts, I think, with better sleep hygiene, which again talks about how you go to sleep at night. So it's settling into those routines. It's laying down to your favorite show every night for a half hour. It's the same routine over and over before bed so your body knows, hey, it's time to go to sleep. I have had a lot of success with melatonin. And again, I know there are people in all schools of thought with this, but melatonin is a very safe thing from all intents or all accounts. I've been taking it for probably over 5 years now, every single night. I know it's something that people usually believe in is kind of like something to bring you back from jet lag and stuff like that. But if you take a small enough dose, and I'm talking about literally 0.3 to 0.5 milligrams. So I have a 2.5 milligram lozenge. I crack it into pieces, and then I bite off the tiniest piece of it. So I'm getting probably about 0.3 milligrams of melatonin. It's a reminder to your body to produce the melatonin and to help you go to sleep. When I wasn't doing this, I was laying there. The tiniest bit of it makes a huge difference for me. So again, there's been no long-term studies done that constant use of melatonin is harmful in any way. In fact, melatonin has been used in many anti-cancer studies. So it seems to be a healthy property. Again, don't overdose it. Don't take 10 milligrams a night. The only things that people are talking about with melatonin that they've had any issue with is sometimes it's harder to wake up in the morning kind of thing. Like they feel tired a little bit until they get going. But I truly believe that it's worth the trade-off with whatever little tiny side effects you might get. And I'm someone who does not believe in taking drugs of any kind, but with something natural like melatonin, when it takes me from potentially sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night to 8 hours a night because I'm falling asleep right away, it's a huge thing for me. So melatonin is something that's completely changed my life, and I do recommend it personally with the preface that I'm not a doctor. Other than that, it's the sleep hygiene and it's the blue light blocking, which my glasses have blue light blocking lenses, and you can do many things on your phone or your computer to switch to night shift where your computer or your device stops emitting blue light. That combination, again, melatonin, sleep hygiene, blue light, those 3 things alone have completely changed how I sleep. And I urge people to give these things a bit of a try before, writing off that I just can't sleep enough at night, because the studies that have been done are the ones that say, hey, if you're sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, it's going to lead to trouble. Not that there's anything wrong with taking a tiny dose of melatonin. So that's my personal opinion. Again, that's just where I come from, and it's something that has completely changed my sleep.
Right.
That's why I recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have because I have sleep apnea. And,
right. Totally different ball game.
Yeah, and then I'm highly sensitive to tryptophan, which will cause me to just lay out at any moment. So I can't eat eggs, I can't eat almonds or drink milk and eat certain poultry at a certain time. So I suggest those products to people that can't go to sleep. If
tryptophan never hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have to go to bed, always you should never go to bed on a full stomach. So obviously, if your bedtime is 9, 10 o'clock, maybe eat at around 6, 7 o'clock at night, so you're not on a full belly. But eat almonds, eat maybe turkey breast, because they sell it at Publix for real cheap. Maybe have an egg with it or something with high doses of tryptophan. You can look it up. Like I said, nuts, eggs, a lot of dairy, and turkey.
Yeah.
So that helps out a lot. I mean, for me, if I eat a slice of turkey with some almonds, I'm going to pass the heck out.
So all we're doing really is saying what works for us and hoping that one of the things that works for us works for them. So Ronald, Do you have any sleep routines, anything that's helped you over the years fall asleep faster and more efficiently even?
I've never had a problem going to sleep. I've always been an early bird. And I think what you guys said is great. The melatonin, the tryptophan, the blocking out the blue light, turning off your devices, putting them on airplane mode. And for your listener who's struggling to go to sleep, man, just schedule enough in your day where you're kind of wiped out at the end of the day, and make it an intentional point to go to sleep. Like, as soon as you start to feel tired, get to a bed. Don't try to overdo yourself.
I think that's another good point. Like, if you have the ability, if you're not someone who's just, you have a situation where you have to work constantly, you just literally do not have the time. There have been times where I've hit the right workout or done enough in the day that you're like, oh, this feels great just getting into bed. Right. Those are the days where you sleep the best, or the nights you sleep the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Rob, hope that helps you, man. Let us know if we can help you out again in the future, how it's going for you. Hopefully we keep getting those hours up closer to 7 or 8. So the last thing we always do before we get off the air here is spreading some love. It's what we believe in truly on this show. Anything, there's a lot of hate in the world, and we're definitely here to spread some love, the opposite, some positivity, anything that can point out some of the good that's happening in this world, kind of thing. So my spreading some love this week is going to go to one of my best friends in the world, Jared James, who lives up in Atlanta. I ironically met him on the set of American Ninja Warrior 9, and he's become one of my best friends. This guy is unbelievable. He's a mobile personal trainer in the city of Atlanta. He has clients 7 days a week. He works 14-hour days. This guy has turned it into a true entrepreneurial, incredible business. But aside from that, it's his energy and his caringness for his clients that really sets him apart. He takes care of everyone that he works with. He's always got this positive energy, even if he went to bed at 12 and woke up at 5 and didn't get enough sleep. He brings that energy to every single client to help them achieve a little bit more. His positivity, his laughter is infectious, and it's just an incredible thing that he's doing, getting a lot of people into good shape. He's doing some really good things out there in Atlanta and getting a lot of people healthier. So, Jared, proud of you, brother. Keep it going.
I'm going to go a little bit opposite than what I usually do.
Okay.
We kind of go like, congratulate people or spread love. I'm going to go with, don't laugh, but the guy that threw a baseball at me while driving in a road rage incident.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to spread my love out to you, and I hope that you have a better day, obviously. Because, we both really got into a tissy. I probably should have controlled myself better after reacting. But, we didn't get physical. I drove off in a mature way. I gave him some very harsh words, though. But that's the Italian New Yorker. I'm not going to go away without saying the last word. But, it's a situation where it doesn't matter. If you're driving and, you don't like the way somebody's driving, or something happened, but it really didn't happen. It doesn't matter. And the situation came about because I had to merge. And I didn't use my blinker because I'm like, I'm not going to use a blinker. I have to get in this lane. So I'm like, I think you already know. It's either that or jump off a cliff. And I don't choose the cliff every time. I will tell you that, guys. So, he came up around me and he told me I was an idiot and stuff like that and threw a baseball at me, which to my surprise was, who carries baseballs in the front seat?
I would expect you might, if anyone.
It's
the baseball
funny,
background.
I carry a bat in my front seat.
Okay, a little
That's
stronger.
normal.
So I felt like he wanted to play a game, but that wasn't the case. Little BP going on Donald Ross Road. But in all seriousness, we started shouting at each other on the road, and he jumped in front of me, slammed on his brakes to where we both pulled over on the bridge, of all places, and running through my mind was, I'm going to throw this guy off the bridge. And then it's like, okay, you're not going to throw somebody off the bridge. And then I was like, okay, dude, I was like, you're getting angry because I didn't hit you with my car. And once I put that into his perspective, it toned him down a bit. I'm like, yeah, I didn't use my blinker. Call me an idiot. But you threw a baseball at me. I have a kid in my car. You have a kid in your car. You slowed down a semi of a mile per hour. For what? To throw a baseball at somebody. And that's my thing. Is like, I hope you get the clarity that you don't have to be angry at somebody that doesn't hit you. And even if they do hit you, you don't have to be angry. That's what insurance is for. So I spread out love to just people that feel that they need to get angry on the road.
Okay. Ronald?
I'd like to dedicate this shout out to Justin Mena. He's a friend of mine, also a ninja, but way more than a ninja. I mean, he just dropped everything. He's moving to California. He's trying to follow his dream of being a host, a people mover, an influencer, whatever you want to call it. But he's trying to bring people together and serve the community and just he turned a whole new leaf, start a new life in California. And he's in his 30s. So I think for anybody to let everything they know, just leave everything they know and start something new is a big, bold move. Just like you starting a podcast, just like Kaye starting a gym. He just moved to the opposite side of the country, and he's starting something new. So shout out to Justin. I wish him the best of luck.
Definitely. Bold was the first word that came to my mind. Ronald, before we let you go, of course, thanks for joining us, man. Where can people get at you on social media?
On Instagram, the number 300-300-proof. And on YouTube, more importantly, youtube.com/slickron. That's it. Shout me out. I'll follow you back.
Awesome. So for Ronald Washington and my co-host Elliot Brownstein, thank you everyone for tuning into the No Name Fit Game. We'll get at you next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in.